I will be your narrator, and our driver up there is Chuck.
Hi, Chuck.
Now, before we get started, we do have a couple of safety rules. Make sure you stay safe during our tour. Please stay seated in the seat you have chosen the entire time the tram is in motion. No switching around. And no standing or kneeling during the tour as well. We can make quick stops and you might fall forward, and we do not want that. Now, keep arms, legs, heads, and children inside the tram at all times. And if you're riding with an extra little one, keep them on your lap or in the seat between you, preferably the middle seat. And there's no smoking or vaping on board. Now, if everybody is ready, let's give Chuck a big wave, and we'll be on our way. Awesome. So we have a lot to see today. We will be leaving from the North Station over here, and we will be returning in around 30 to 35 minutes. So just sit back and relax. We see lots of amazing animal structures and learn a little bit about the history of the zoo as well. So this first area we are going to be going to is we're traveling all the way to Australia without the airfare, which is nice. Now, as we make this left turn, keep your eyes peeled to the left, and you might be able to see the second largest bird species in the world. And that is the emu. Does anyone know the largest species of bird in the world? I heard it. It's the ostrich. Good job. So the emu is a bit smaller than the ostrich, but still very large. They can grow to be 6 feet tall and around 6 feet tall when they stretch up. You can see our female emu right near that brown fence to the left. And there should be our male emu on the other side of that brown fence. They like to hang out near each other. Now, emus, like ostriches, are flightless due to their small wings and heavy bones, but they can still get around really well. They're able to run at speeds of 30 miles per hour with those strong legs of theirs, as well as they're quite good at swimming. So yeah, you can just remember that emus look like feather dusters with legs. Now, this building coming up on our left is Australia House, one of the original buildings from when the zoo opened in 1934. The Brookfield Zoo is the first zoo to have a building dedicated to animals from down under. And inside you can find the kookaburra, the Rodriguez Island fruit bats in the free flight area, and the hairy-nosed wombat. Now, in 1975, the first hairy-nosed wombat born outside of Australia was born right here. So it's a great place to check out. Also about the Rodriguez Island fruit bats. They are one of the largest species of bat with a wingspan of around 3 feet. Now to our right, you will see our Bactrian camels. Christina and Ray Ray are our Bactrian camels. Now Bactrian camels have 2 humps. You can remember they have 2 humps because if you turn your head to the side, the humps make out a V shape for Bactrian. Now they are native to the Gobi Desert, where in the summers it can reach 120 degrees Fahrenheit, and in the winter it can go down to negative 30 degrees. So they need a strategy to stay warm and keep cool. They grow very long, full coats in the winter to keep warm, which they then shed in the summer. Right now they're with their very short coats. And fun fact, Christina is Ray Ray's grandmother. So it's a grandmother-granddaughter duo in there. Now, if you're wondering what's inside those humps of theirs, it is not water. It is actually fat that is metabolized to help them survive through the droughts in the desert. Now, this path that we pass to our right will take you down to Habitat Africa, as well as to see some of our other hoofed animals like the Przewalski's horse, one of the last wild species of horse. And in Habitat Africa, you'll find our giraffes, our painted African dog pack, and many more like the Tibetan golden weavers leaving their nests. Now to our left, that little area is usually home to our 2 Cape-bearing geese. Oh, you can see some wallabies coming in there. We have an open door policy, so they're allowed to spend time with each other because they are used to each other. They are from the same area, so they pose no harm to each other. But these Cape-bearing geese are a rare species of goose native to the islands of Australia. If you see 2 gray geese in there, the wallabies area, those are our Cape-bearing geese. They can drink salt water because of a gland in their head that allows the salt to be absorbed and expelled through their nostrils. Now, if you quickly look to your right across this field, you might be able to spot some of our giraffes. They are reticulated giraffes. Reticulated means net-like, and it refers to their coat pattern. And like fingerprints, no giraffe has the same pattern. Now we are coming around to the back side of the Australia house. As we make this turn, keep looking to your left. We saw a few of them earlier, but these are our Bennett's Wallabies. They may look like kangaroos. They're actually the smaller cousin to the kangaroo, native to Tasmania. And keep out on the lookout for those two gray geese, the Cape Berry geese. They like to hang out with the Wallabies. Now, they are in Tasmania, but they are also in New Zealand. And they are in such high number in New Zealand that they are actually considered pests, the wallabies. Now, later in the tour, we'll visit the east side of the zoo where you might be able to walk with the wallabies at the Wallaby Walkabout. So that's very exciting. Now, to our right, that building is the pachyderm building. And here are some of our pachyderms, the tapirs. These are lowland tapirs. They're out and about, which is very awesome to see because they are semi-nocturnal. They're usually more active in the early morning and the afternoon. Now, these lowland tapirs are Sunny Sorghum and their calf Alejandro, born May of last year. Now, you might see they have very interesting noses. They have prehensile noses that allow them to grasp onto their food. And they can also use it as a snorkel. So they stick their little noses outside of the water to breathe. They're also very aquatic, the most aquatic species of tapir. And these lowland tapirs are native to South America. Now, coming up on your right, you will see the iguana cove tortoises. They are actually a subspecies of the famous Galapagos tortoise. Now, they have domed shells, which mean they cannot raise their head very high. So they have adapted to environments with abundant ground vegetation. Now, these guys are 14 years old, but they can grow bigger and older. They can grow to around over 100. So if you come back in around 90 years, give or take, they'll probably still be around. Now to your left, that is where you will find our western gray kangaroos. Western gray kangaroos love to hop around. Now, when a kangaroo is born, it is about the size of a jelly bean. And this baby, called a joey, regardless of gender, makes an amazing trek from the mother's birth canal into her pouch, climbing her fur, where it will spend the next 5 to 6 months growing and developing. And by 18 months, it'll be more or less independent. So by 18 months, the mom's like, hey, I'm kicking you out of my pouch. Please don't come back. Live on your own now. Now to the right, this yard belongs to Banana, our pygmy hippo. She's been out a bit. Let's see if she's out there. She might be swimming or in her little mud puddle. We will be swinging around later to check on her again. Now there are 2 species of hippopotamus. Nile hippos, which you might be more familiar with, and pygmy hippos like Banana. So Nile hippos can weigh 9,000 pounds, whereas pygmy hippos are only around a fourth of that and half as tall. So she may be small, but she is a full-grown adult hippo. Now that green tent to our left is the butterfly tent. It is open for the summer. So head on inside and you'll find lots of nature's jewelry, aka the butterflies. We have lots of species of butterflies native to North America. And inside you can learn all about their behavior, how they are pollinators. And even you can ask the keepers about the plants that are around the tent. Because some of these plants are able to be planted in your own yard to attract some of the native butterflies to your home. And milkweed is a great plant to attract monarchs. Now we have just passed our carousel. I was about to call it Ferris wheel. Nope, carousel. This one is the largest hand-carved, non-restored carousel in the country, created by the Carousel Works Company in Mansfield, Ohio. This company only makes 1 carousel a year, so we're very lucky to have this one in our possession. On board are 72 hand-carved, hand-painted animals and 3 chariots or benches, so lots to choose from. Many of these animals represent species that are endangered, many of whom we could find at the zoo today. And did you know that along with roller coasters, carousels are actually the oldest amusement ride that's still in use today? So when you ride a carousel, you are riding a little bit of history. Now, the Brookfield Zoo has recently earned Arboretum status. So we are passionate about all forms of life, not only animals, but also plants. This can be seen in our well-tended grounds, beautiful flower beds like the one passing to the left, and some areas we simply leave to their natural state. Now, if you are curious about any of the trees you encounter during your visits, you can go to our website at ccs.org. And under the Learning tab, you can find the tree guide. So you can use your mobile device as a guidebook to the trees you encounter during your visit. Also, some trees may have a little plaque on them that can give you a little bit of information. But it's a fun way to see more than just animals here at the zoo. And you get a 2-for-1 here at the zoo and Arboretum. So pretty nice deal. Now that habitat to your right is for our eastern black rhino. We will be circling back around to see if Layla, our rhino, is out. But for now, that path coming up on our right, that will take you to the west end of the zoo, where you can find lots of different exhibits, like one of my favorites, the Great Bear Wilderness, where you can find the charismatic bears, the Alaskan brown bears, and the polar bears, as well as the American bison, American bald eagle, and the Mexican gray wolf pack. Now, we unfortunately cannot make it to the west end on the tram, but you can take one of these paths and get there on foot. Now, the reason we cannot drive there is because of this construction to our right. This construction will be transformed into a gorilla conservation center and an outdoor enclosure for our primates. It'll be unlike anything else we have here or anything else in the world. And it should be complete around 2025, so there's still a lot of work to be done. But keep coming back and seeing the progress. It's going to be super amazing. So speaking of primates, that large brown building to our right is home to our primates as well as many other species. That is Tropic World. Tropic World was built in 1984, and it is the largest, or it was the largest building in the entire world was built, as well as the first building, or first rainforest to be successfully recreated indoors. And it is one of our most intriguing habitats and exhibits on the zoo grounds. Inside you'll find lots of different tropic species like our primates, as I said, and many different ones like birds. And the cool thing is you will see lots of different species in the same habitat because we have 3 sections. They are all based on the environments from 3 different continents, the rainforests of 3 different continents. So you will head into Tropic World, go to South America, and then on to Asia, and finally Africa. Now Africa, the Africa section has been closed the last couple days. I believe it is still closed, unfortunately. But you can still see the other sections like South America, where you will find our spider and squirrel monkeys, as well as the giant anteater and 2-toed sloth. A lot to see there. Now, fun fact, squirrel monkeys can live in groups of 300 in the wild. We have around 7 to 14 every now and then, so it's still quite a few, but definitely not 300. Now, the next continent you'll encounter is Asia, where you can find our white-cheeked gibbons, as well as the beautiful orangutans. They are native to the islands of Borneo and Sumatra, but unfortunately are very endangered due to habitat loss. You can learn more about ways you can help them on our website. And if you did end up going to Africa when it is open, you can visit our mixed species monkey exhibit with monkeys like the Angolan Caldus monkey and the Schmidt red-tailed guenons. Now, guenons have cheek pouches where they can store food in their mouth for a later snack. Sounds very handy to me. Also a little gross, but all good, all good. Now also in Africa, you will find the greatest of the great apes, the western lowland gorilla. Now coming up to our right, that is another one of our paths that will take you down the west end of the zoo. This is actually our bird walk. On it you will find lots of our peacocks, they like to hang out around there, as well as reptiles and birds, and feathers and scales, those exhibits, and our new macaw exhibit. And if you follow the path all the way down, you can reach the living coast. Much like an aquarium, you can see lots of species of fish, sea anemones, leopard sharks, lots more, including our Humboldt penguins from South America. Now we are at the south end of the zoo. Those arch gates to your right are the original entrance and oldest entrance from when the zoo opened in 1934. The north entrance was added a bit later as automobiles got more popular. We needed more space for parking lots. Now these buildings on the south end are original, dating back to the 1920s. Edwin H. Clark, a renowned Chicago architect, designed these buildings, a blend of classical Greek and Italian Renaissance styles. So they are the ones with the cream walls and the red tile roofs, like the ones behind us and to our left and to our right. Now there are over 230 acres of beautiful designed grounds to explore during your visits. But that one of the original buildings, that gray building to our left across these paths, is our swamp. The swamp is where you can learn all about wetlands, as well as learn about how some animals that live in swamps all around the world, such as the whistling duck, river stingrays, the eastern Massasauga rattlesnake, scarlet ibis, roseate spoonbills, and many more, including the largest predator in all of South America, which is, drumroll, the Orinoco crocodile. Thank you for the drumroll, I appreciate it. Male Orinoco crocodiles can weigh 800 pounds and grow to 15 feet long. Now, our crocodile is named Carlita. She is not that long, but she's still very large and very magnificent. Also be on the lookout for Charlotte, our river otter, and her swamp. Now, this building coming up to our right is the Hamill Family Play Zoo, another one of our original buildings. Inside play is the thing where children of all ages can interact with animals and play in these little playground areas to the right. And also kids can rehearse the roles of a zookeeper, a zoo director, a veterinarian at the little teddy bear hospital, or if they want to just not be a person for a day, they can be a lemur, ringtail lemur at the lemur leap area. Also in the back of the play zoo is a beautiful sensory garden to relax during your busy stay. I know it can get kind of hectic sometimes. It's nice to just sit back and relax. To engage your senses, you can go touch the flowers, smell the garden, just relax. Now, there are also our newcomers to check out at the play zoo, the toucan and Serenias. So very loud birds, if you happen to hear very large, sound like much like a puppy. Those are our Serenias. Now, fun fact about ringtail lemurs, they use those fluffy 2-foot-long striped tails to hang on from branches to hide from predators. But when they're on the ground in the wild looking for food, they hold those striped tails high in the air to act as a beacon to alert the others of their location. Now, these pictures to your left are pictures taken of actual individual animals we have here at the zoo. We have great photographers. Under each picture, you will see their species name, their scientific name, and the habitat or exhibit they are found in, so you know exactly where to find one if it piques your interest. Now, approaching on the right is Hamill Family Wild Encounters. It is much like a petting zoo where inside you can visit the largest free-flight parakeet aviary in all of North America and feed some of our 800 Australian budgies. You can even purchase a seed stick. They might even come and land on your arm and chill out for a while. Now you can also visit our reindeer and llamas. Ask our reindeer about Santa, how he's doing. And you can also visit our wallaby walkabout and some wallabies like we saw in the Africa section. One of our wallabies named Whitney actually has a joey in her pouch. So you can check that out. And also at that path to our right are our prima donnas, the Nigerian dwarf goats. They love attention. They love hanging out with people, being pet brushed, and if they could, they'd keep you there all day. Don't forget to take your pictures with the 30 different goat individuals before you leave. There's lots to do at the Wild Encounters, so it's definitely not to be missed. Now, speaking of goats, goats are believed to be the first animal domesticated by man back in 10,000 BC. Now, as we pass this fork in the road, you may have noticed we have been surrounded by trees all throughout the zoo. It's one of the things that makes the zoo what it is. Like I said, we are an arboretum. But if you happen to see a squirrel wandering around here or back home, make sure to thank them, because millions of trees grow every year because of a squirrel forgetting where it's hidden its nuts and seeds. So squirrels are quite the little gardeners. Now, to the right is one of our restaurants on the zoo grounds. This is BZ Red Hot's. Great place to relax, grab a meal. And it also has some of the best air conditioning on the zoo grounds, so it's a great place to rest and plan out the rest of your trip. Now, we will be heading towards some of our marine mammals. Before we get there, I have some dolphin facts for you. So dolphins are mammals, just like you and me. So the females give birth to live young and produce milk. And like other mammals, they have hair on their bodies. But did you know that when a dolphin is born, its baby dolphin has a little mustache? A little cute little mustache, very cute to imagine. Then this sash sheds as it ages. Now speaking of dolphins, that blue building coming to our right is the Seven Seas exhibit where you can find our dolphins, but unfortunately it is closed for renovations. So our 7 bottlenose dolphins are at their temporary vacation home at the Minnesota Zoo, along with some of their vet staff and animal care specialists. But some of the renovations to this 35-year-old facility include a full hydraulic lift system in the south habitat that allows the water depth to be changed very quickly in case there's a medical emergency with one of the animals. There's also a full new climate-controlled air purifying system to keep it a nice temperature all year round, as well as a new roof, as you can see. So lots of great renovations, but our dolphins should be back in the next couple of months. But this path coming down to your right will take you to the clouded leopard rainforest, as well as to Pinniped Point, where you can find some of our other marine mammals, the California sea lions and gray seals. And they are here today, so if you can't see the dolphins, you can still see some of our marine mammal friends. Now, if you want to tell a sea lion from a seal, sea lions have large flippers that they can stand on and visible ear flaps, whereas seals lack the visible ear flaps, have smaller flippers, and tend to wiggle around on their bellies. Sea lions also tend to be a bit louder. Now we are headed down the big catwalk, where some of our lions, tigers, and actually also bears have snuck in, so oh my. Now, to our right, first up is Malaya, our snow leopard. She likes to hang out, if she's not on one of these rocks lounging, she likes to hang out by that viewing window to the right. She's very good at camouflaging at the rocks, so be looking out very carefully. Now, snow leopards are from Himalayas, where it is very cold, so they use those 3-foot-long fluffy tails as a sort of scarf to wrap around their noses to keep them warm. And they can also use them to leap high in the air. They can jump 30 feet, the highest of all land mammals, which is why that netting is thrown in the enclosure. Next up, the Amur tiger. Usually they like to hang around the front of their grottos. They cannot be seen from this tram, usually, unfortunately. We have 2 tigers, Melina and Whirl. They are not out at the same time because they are not very social. But fun fact, these guys love to swim. They can swim 4 miles, even with prey in their mouth. Now, next up, sloth bears, Kartik and Hani are their names. They're considered night owls, but you will often see them out and about during the day. They eat berries and bugs. They can eat 170,000 termites a day. There's a space in their teeth where they can slurp up termites from their mouths. Now, last but not least, are the African lion brothers. These are Brutus and Titus. They are brothers. Now, they are probably, I can't tell right now, but they're probably sleeping on that ledge over there. Yep, there they are. They're all passed out. So they are actually giving a perfect example of what lions do both in zoos and the wild. Now, lions, especially the males, like Brutus and Titus, sleep for around 15 to 20 hours a day. This is to conserve energy, to protect the pride, or help out with the hunting, although it is the female lions or lionesses that do make the bulk of the hunting. Now, down that red road that we have passed to our right, it will take you to the desert's edge, as well as to Sierra and leopard. Now, desert's edge, you can find the bat-eared fox, the not so cute and cuddly naked mole rat, who has a society much like a bee's, with a queen and some workers. And like I said, you can also find the Amur leopard down there. Unfortunately, the Amur leopard is very critically endangered. There's only around 70 left in the wild. So they need to be protected at all costs. This is mainly due to habitat loss from logging. There are some ways you can help out our big cat friends like the Amur leopard. That is by purchasing wood products like paper, wooden furniture that has been approved by the FSC. That is the Forest Stewardship Council. They ensure that the wood you take has not been taken from our big cat habitats. It's a small thing to do that can make a big difference in our cat friends' lives. So if you happen to be in the market for any wood products, maybe take a look out for those FSC logos. Now we are headed to one of the centerpieces of the zoo. This is Roosevelt Fountain. And anyone guess who it's named after? There's probably two options that you could probably guess. It is Theodore Roosevelt, the 26th President of the United States. Not only was he a great politician, but also a naturalist and conservationist. And Theodore was very busy during his presidency. He ended up creating 5 national parks, 18 national monuments, and 51 wildlife refuges. And he is also the namesake of the beloved teddy bear. Now if you look to our left, you can see one of our peacocks hanging around. They like to hang around the fountain. Now, the fountain itself was installed in 1954, about 20 years after the zoo opened. It is a great place to choose as a meeting point in case your group gets separated today, because it is easily reachable from any point in the zoo. Now, if you look around the fountain, you might see it's a bunch of grass and some plants. We were actually partnered with the Chicago Botanic Gardens to create a whole new gardenscape, and those structures covered by the brown tarps surrounding the fountain are carved animal statues that will also be unveiled with the gardenscape around October, so be on the lookout for that. Now, flower beds, like the one to our left, are around the zoo, but if you happen to see blooming flowers, be on the lookout for our honeybees, one of the most important pollinators in the world. Bees, it takes bees to get the nectar from around 2,000 flowers just to make 1 tablespoon of honey. So they are very hard workers and do a lot for us. And also around 1 in every 3 bites of food you eat can be directly attributed to our pollinator friends like the bees. Now the nature stage to our right, that is where we have animal presentations. It was canceled, but it looks like it's back on at noon today. Every day at noon, an animal presentation happens with one of our animal ambassadors. Our animal ambassador keepers wear those blue shirts, and if you see them, they might have a little animal with them, animal friend. They can be mammals, amphibians, reptiles, birds, lots of different species, and you can learn all about them at the nature stage. But now we are headed back to the rhino habitat. Now, Layla hasn't really been out. Layla's our eastern black rhinoceros. She hasn't really been out in this yard to our left that much because of the sun. She has another yard right behind the yard to our left, behind that tall grass. There's a little shadier, so if you want to see her, she might be over there. Now, rhinos are one of the largest animals on the land. And black rhinos like Layla can be 3,000 pounds and run as fast as 35 miles per hour. Also, while you and I sweat to cool off, pachyderms have very thick skin, and that's what Layla is. So you will often see her rolling around in the mud to stay cool. And this mud also can act as a great sunscreen and insect repellent. So it's a win-win-win. Now, coming up to our left is the friendly little capybara. He's usually hanging out near the front because he's pretty social. There he is, right in that shade to the right side of the front, hanging out under that tree. Now, the capybara is a rodent. It is actually the largest rodent in the world. And they are lovingly referred to as nature's ottoman, or footstool, because they often allow smaller animals like birds or small monkeys to climb on their back to hitch a ride. Or when they don't seem to mind company. They are native to the rivers and marshes of South America. They love to swim, so you will often see him swimming around. Now let's take another look and see if Banana, our hippo, is out. Now, did you know hippos can't actually swim? Well, they spend most of their time in the water. They are very buoyant, so they can rise and float, and will sink and fall in the water by controlling their breath. Oh yeah, she's that shiny little rock in that mud pit near that big log. She likes hanging out in the mud. Now we are pulling back into the North Station. Please remain seated until we come to a complete stop. Now, the zoo closes at 6 today. All the exhibits close at 5:30 except Tropic World, which closes at 5:15. My name is Jessica. Our driver is Chuck. If you have any questions for us, please feel free to ask. We hope you have a great rest of your day at the zoo. Let's see if we are able to let you get out. Wait 1 second.